Hello, I'm Gemma and welcome to your weekly news bulletin from Pulse Social. This week we delve into disability sports, how to encourage and involve those from the disabled community in all facets of sporting life, and how fostering a supportive sporting community can aid in destigmatising disability, as well as reduce the levels of social isolation in people with disabilities. We unpacked these issues during a podcast episode with Emma Cranston, Project Officer at London-based charity Disability Sports Coach. Emma provided valuable insight into how these concerns can be tackled and how non-disabled people can be allies to the disabled community. It's a truly fascinating topic, and you can check it out on the podcast episode now, as well as a blog summary of the discussion. Sticking with the theme of disability sports, a blog post this week explores how relatively recent investment and interest in the Paralympics has impacted disabled amateur and professional athletes. The 2012 Paralympics generated previously unheard of levels of interest in disability sports amongst the British public, and in 2021 it was announced that Paralympians would receive equal pay to Olympians, thus demonstrating the sustained interest in disability sports. However, many disabled athletes still struggle to access training facilities, sports clubs and teams. How do we reconcile the clear public interest with the fact that it still receives less funding than other areas of sport? Check out the blog post now. In other news, a study by Sports England has found that the number of active adults in the UK has fallen by 1.6 million when compared to pre-pandemic levels. In fact, they uncovered a 2% rise in the number of inactive adults, those who do less than 30 minutes exercise a week. Furthermore, those from minority ethnic backgrounds, people with disabilities and lower socioeconomic status were amongst the worst affected. According to Tim Hollingsworth, Sports England Chief Executive, those who have historically found it more difficult to access activity were disproportionately impacted. This study demonstrates the importance of community-mindedness and equality impact assessments when reviewing sports initiatives. Finally, the NFL is set to end race-based testing, or race norming, for compensation claims made by ex-players who have developed dementia. The previous method of testing used a formula which calculated a lower level of cognitive function as standard for black players. This made it more difficult for them to link their injuries to their careers, as they had to demonstrate a greater level of cognitive decline than white players. The new draft agreement states that no race norms or race demographic estimates, whether black or white, shall be used in the settlement programme going forward. Approximately 1,435 ex-players are now eligible for retesting. This hugely welcomed overturn will massively impact the league, as over 60% of living retirees and 70% of active players are black. That's all we have time for this week. Remember to check out our new podcast and blogs, and we'll be back next week with another sports news roundup.